Good morning, guys. I had a request to do a video about the transmission and it lurching when you put it into reverse or drive or whatever. So this morning's a little bit colder, so remote started, of course, and so we're going to see if it'll do it. So my truck doesn't do it all the time, but usually it's in a higher idle, so when it's colder. Right now it's not, but let's see. And I always do set my emergency brake, so sometimes it's worse if I set my my parking brake, and this is after I shut the truck off and I let the truck kind of roll back against its park gear. So I don't anticipate this actually being an issue. It does it when it's cold because the RPMs are higher when it's trying to warm the engine up. And the reason why I don't believe that this is an issue, it's not necessarily awesome to have that happen, but we're gonna pull it down into the gear and see. It kind of like, it's hard to explain, but it kind of did, like, I guess, kind of jerk forward, not like slap the gears forward, but you could feel that RPM wanted to start moving the truck forward with my foot on the brake. And the reason why I don't think this is an issue is because I've experienced this in the V10s we have at work with the 6-speed. I've experienced that in both of them, and because those things are cold-blooded, so when they get fired up in the morning, they stay in that high idle phase for quite a bit. And if we move the trucks like we typically do to get them ready to pull trailers while they're warming up, we'll stage that truck, and they kind of lurch forward. And then we also experienced that in the diesel that we have that is a Power Stroke, and it's a 19, I believe. And that one has the 10-speed. Now, this isn't just for Ford, because my Ram that had the Ace in it, that transmission, man, it was a slappy, jerky, rough shifting transmission all the time. And that was my experience with all the Acens. And that's okay, because that transmission is a workhorse, and that's just what it is made for. But the 68 RFE wasn't as bad, but when the Cummins was in high idle, if you needed to stage that truck anywhere, it did have that kind of lurch feeling. Now, if you experience any type of like hesitation when you put it in drive, like it lurches but then it doesn't do anything, I have heard that a few guys had transmission issues where not necessarily just with the 7.3 Godzilla, but where the transmission was shipped from Ford or got to the dealer, and during their pre-sale inspection they didn't check the transmission fluid to make sure it was full enough, and then people put the transmissions into service, drove them, put them to work, and then they had transmission issues and or failures. And I also noticed this in the Duramax that I borrowed from my buddy. That one liked to lurch in reverse, but again, we know that the Ace and the Allison and the Torque Shift, these are the heavy duty transmissions. So again, I think what the trucks like is to be warmed up. That high idle comes down, and then we're not talking where it idles crazy, but it is higher than normal. I think this thing idles at like 500-600 RPM, and that lurching, I don't believe it is an issue. However, if you try and take that to a dealer, I think we all know that most days now, if it doesn't show it on the computer, if there's not a dummy light or it's not throwing a code, it's hard for those dealers. And this may just because that's the way it is now, but most mechanics now aren't using old school ways of hearing things or looking at things. And that's why I appreciate old school mechanics that showed some of those things to young bucks, and they can still carry that. Because now, most of the time, this has been my experience, go to the dealer, and the dealers plug in their machine and say, well, we don't see a check engine code or a transmission code or any code, so what's it doing? And you try and show it to them, and they're just kind of stunned as to be like, I don't know it, I don't see anything wrong, I don't know it. Without a code, we can't do anything. But go ahead and leave it here overnight. So then you're out of your vehicle and you leave it there. And then about 4 days later, they call back and they're like, well, can't find anything wrong with it. So come back, and if the problem persists, then bring it back and we'll see what we can do then. And you kind of get in this like proverbial cycle of just taking it to the dealer and leaving it, and then kind of park it out back and everything like that. You know, back in the old days, you know, the mechanics would be like, I hear something, I know that's an exhaust manifold leak. It's not throwing a code, but I know that's what that is. That's what that slapping sound is on the side of the motor, and that's probably what should be replaced. They replace them, bam, it's gone. And that's just one example. I mean, the older guys just had the knowledge to be like, okay, that doesn't sound right. I'm hearing a miss already. I can hear a miss in an engine and stuff like that. So, you know, I would honestly say that the lurching issue isn't an issue, but if you feel like you need to and it's under warranty, go ahead and take it in, explain to them, and if they come back with an answer and you can share that with us, that'd be great, because I think a lot of people, you know, again, we spend a lot of money on this truck, so people are concerned when the thing's doing anything wonky that doesn't add up, or we're not used to in another car. We've never experienced it, or it feels like it's worse on certain days. Then take it in and get it checked out. But I don't really think that that's an issue. But yes, this 10-speed transmission does do it. The 6 speeds do it. It's not just with the new stuff. It's our old V10s. It's our newer diesels. I can't remember it doing that on my red Superduty diesel, but I had that pretty much during the summer, so we didn't really get into any cold weather before that. But I know that my Duramax experienced that issue, the 21, and my buddies did that too. But again, those were cold weather things, and the high idle was trying to get the engine to operating temperature. So I hope this helps. Please post up there if you've experienced this and you've already went to the shop and you haven't. Go ahead and comment and let people know. And I hope that this isn't anything, and it's just something that we all are going to deal with. But if y'all find anything different, then let me know. Please do subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.